About 3 or 4 months ago, I bought the Leica MP. And in this video, I thought I would share some of my favorite things about it, share some of my favorite photographs I've taken with it, and also a couple of things I'm not too sure about. And given that this is September at the time of recording, there has been a whole range of new tech that has been released, from a brand new iPhone to new Canon to new Nikon. New everything seems to be the thing in September. This camera came out in 2003. And I think it might outlast everything that comes out in this month in 2025. And I'll talk more about why I think that in this video. I have obviously been shooting a lot of film in the last 3 or 4 months since buying this, and this camera has seamlessly fitted into my workflow. And the first point I want to make is that the process and the approach and my intentions when shooting with this feel very similar to what they do when I'm shooting on the M11. Same lenses, same body feel, obviously less mechanical shooting on the M11. This feels very tactile and it's a little bit heavier, but in terms of carrying it with me as my daily street documentary, take photographs of everything and anything, it's been easy, it's been fun, it's been everything I wanted since I bought it. So no regrets right off the bat. So I've been shooting a lot with the 28 Elmera on the MP. And in fact, I don't think the Elmera has left the MP for like 2 months. And I have a approach, mindset, kind of theory when it comes to shooting 35 on digital and 28 on film. I think 35mm, I think the focal length is neat and symmetrical, and you can achieve somewhat perfect compositions. Not like the word perfect can be used at all in photography, but the 35mm I think leans itself better for digital photography, where you can iterate and be flexible with raw files and achieve visually pleasing aesthetics. And that's digital photography for me. It's more about crafting moments. Film photography is more about documenting moments. I'm basically just saying it's more about the moments and the feeling of the images. And 28mm does a very good job at capturing that. It's real, it's not perfect. And I think with digital photography and 35mm photography, you almost can try and make things perfect. With film photography, perfection is out the window, essentially. Did that make any sense? Hopefully it did. 35mm seems to lean towards digital photography, and with 28mm I lean towards film photography. That's enough about focal lengths. So I've only shot mainly Portra 400 in this. I just trust that film stock the most. I think I've put Cinestill 50D in here, I've put Gold 200 in here, and every single time I get the scans through, the Portra 400 scans are always my favorite. So I think that's what I've landed on, and I don't necessarily want to shoot anything else. However, saying that, I do have the new Leica Monopan black and white film in here, which is apparently just rebranded film from somewhere else or something else. So I don't think it's new film that Leica have released. I think they've just repackaged it, but I could be wrong there. But I have never shot black and white film on the MP, and I've actually never shot this Leica film either, so I'm very excited to see what the photographs look like. I'm currently on 9 photographs in, so I can't really comment on that, but I'm actually enjoying, from the 9 photographs I've taken, I've actually enjoyed knowing that it's gonna be black and white, and I haven't really given color much thought. And from the literally half a morning where I took 9 photographs, I did enjoy the approach. So I'm tempted to give black and white a little bit more thought and maybe go do a whole weekend of street photography in black and white and see how I feel about it. That's basically how I've been using the Leica MP with the 28mm Elmera and shooting Portra 400 like 99% of the time. But maybe I'll shoot more black and white soon. Let's talk about some physical aspects to the Leica MP and compare my thoughts to when I first bought the camera and made a video about it. I originally said that I'm not too sure about the rewind knob on here, as lifting it up, manually doing that, I did think it would be slow and somewhat annoying, especially compared to the Leica M6 where you lift it up and you've got a little tab to, much better. I've not really thought about it at all since, and reloading film and doing it on the fly, you get quicker at it, it's not that annoying. And in fact, I enjoy the way this looks and feels with it being flush. I think, can't believe I'm saying this, I think this actually might be better than the M6, because the M6 kind of sits at a random angle like that. So basically my thoughts are that I've not thought about it since, and this is totally fine. I did buy the MP over the M6 because of a few things. The way it looks, the minimal design. I don't like that the M6 says Leica M6 on it. It's like screams look at me essentially, and this is much more minimal and sleek, I think. But also the advanced lever here, I think this is nicer. This one piece is better than the M6's two-piece thing. And I know some people who have an M6 that have put the MP advanced lever on. So that's an option as well. You could probably even put the M6 advanced lever on this, right? I'm sure that's possible as well. But one thing I want to mention, and let me know in the comments below if you've had a similar experience with this, the battery that I've used for the light meter died 2 months in, and I just thought, that can't be right. I did leave the camera on once or twice overnight, no big deal, but it's not exactly in use. So I was surprised that the battery died. Now, this is the battery, and I'll put it on screen specifically so you can see it close up. I bought a couple of these and I've put a fresh one in here. Should it last longer than 2 months? I mean, this was like £5 or something, so it's not really a huge deal, but I just thought that the light meter battery should last longer than what it already did. Anyway, whatever. Let's talk about the photographs, which is the entire point of camera gear, right? To actually take pictures. So let's just forget the fact that it doesn't really matter what I'm using to take film photographs, if that makes sense, because it's just a metal box that allows me to shoot film. Whereas I think if you're shooting digital, oh, that's the microphone. I think if you're shooting digital, there is much more nuance and variability and software at play that affects the output. Whereas with film photography, it is all about the film stock and the focal length, really. The body itself isn't doing anything except the tool for me to make it happen. Anyway, the thing I want to mention here is that I have been pleasantly surprised with some of the photographs I've been getting when I check my scans and I'm editing the photographs. And the pictures that I'm most pleased with would be different if I was shooting on film. And what I mean by that is, I want to throw a photo on screen here. If I took this photograph on digital, there is no way I would have been able to make it look like this. And this photograph was almost a throwaway. It was just I think it was the second photograph of the day. I just arrived in London and I was just taking photographs to warm up and get into the flow of things. This photograph, I think, looks really nice on film. I just wouldn't have been able to replicate this on digital. And if I was editing a raw digital version of this photograph, I don't think there's any editing I could have done to give it the mood and atmosphere that the film photograph has delivered. When I go out and shoot, my intentions are the same. Doesn't matter what I'm using, digital or film, I'm scanning and noticing and I'm interested in the same things. If something catches my eye, I take the photograph. But when I look at the results, I am pleasantly surprised by certain moments that I didn't think would look the way they look. And I think with digital photography, you can come to expect certain things. You kind of, not that it gets boring, but you kind of know what that moment's gonna look like. So sometimes you don't bother taking the picture, or sometimes you take the picture anyway and you just kind of gloss over it when you're editing the files. With film photography, I'm interested and curious to see what it's going to look like. And I think that curiosity is exciting for me right now. And that photograph of those people on the underground, on the staircase, on the escalators, that is an example of something that wouldn't have been that special if I was shooting raw. But actually, the gear did matter. The fact I was shooting film did matter. And that photograph has a whole vibe to it that I wouldn't have been able to achieve if I was shooting digital. So I could sit here and talk about gear doesn't matter, gear does matter, that whole thing, but that's just some real personal experience of what I've been shooting, and I've been really, really happy with the results that I've been getting on film. Maybe I would get those results if I was shooting digital, maybe not, but there's been a few times where the film photograph has been exceptionally pleasing, more so than if I was shooting on digital. I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, and that is the Lindy effect. Now, I spoke about that on this week's email. If you're interested in hearing more personal thoughts from me, more unscripted updates on my world of photography and YouTube, etc., then sign up to the Focal Point. I'll leave a link in the description. Anyway, plug to one side. The Lindy effect is a theory that states that however long something has been around, there is a high chance that it will continue to be around. An example of this might be Harrods in London. The fact that that shop has been here for 200 years nearly, I think it's pretty safe that that shop will continue to be here in another 200 years. Now, the Lindy effect can be applied to all sorts of ideas and things and topics. However, I think it applies to film photography. Right now it's September and lots of new exciting tech and software is being released. But this was released in 2003 and it's just as exceptional now as it was then, over 20 years later. And in fact, the process of film photography has been around for over 200 years, I think we're going to continue to enjoy film for another 200 years and beyond. And when I think about digital photography like the M11, this won't last anywhere near as long as this. I could confidently say I will have this in my 80s and hopefully in my 90s. And maybe if I live to 100 plus, this is still going to work. I don't think this will. So just some food for thought, that the brand new exciting tech that comes out this month that we feel that we must buy or else we're falling behind, actually, this is probably going to outlive all of it. And yeah, maybe the new and exciting stuff isn't all that new and exciting. Anyway, I've very much been enjoying this, and I hope you enjoyed some of my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this little waffle. This was actually a very unscripted video. Normally I have like boom, boom, boom points I want to make in all my stuff, but I thought I'd just sit down, turn the camera on and talk about my new favorite camera. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you might think, Mike, this looks different, what's going on? I moved house and that's very exciting. And I've kind of just dumped everything in this room. This is the most like aesthetically pleasing frame I could find in my office, in my new office. But over the next few weeks, this whole place is going to transform. And yeah, I'll do a video about that as well. So anyway, film photography, the Leica MP 28mm street photography. I love it. I'm excited to continue doing more of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.